Today we're talking about introverted feeling. We will explore this function based on the 8 positions that it can fulfill in someone's cognitive stack and make references to the personality types that use it in a specific position. So tune in for that. We will talk about that in the next few minutes. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's dive in. Okay, so firstly we've got introverted feeling as a hero function or a dominant function. This is the case of INFPs and ISFPs. And what this means is that someone who uses this function predominantly, someone who uses this function in such a way that it kind of encapsulates the entire personality, is someone who highly values their moral system and highly values what their value system tells them. Everyone has values, all personality types have values, and it doesn't mean that if you are an FI dominant person, you are more likely to have values than other people. This is a misconception that goes around. It just means that it will be easier for you to be in tune with those values. I've heard a lot of INFPs and ISFPs say that, oh, but I don't know to tell you what my values are. I can't tell you exactly the words that would represent my values. And from what I've observed, it tends to be the case that dominant or hero introverted feelers have the capacity to live in accordance with those values much better than other people, even when they're not fully aware of that. Because our hero function dominates our psyche so much that sometimes we are not really aware of what's going on. And this can be the case as well for INFPs and ISFPs. Secondly, we've got introverted feeling as an auxiliary or parent function. This is the case of ENFPs and ESFPs, who also care a lot about ethics and morality and their value system. In their case, they might actually be a little bit more conscious about what these values actually look like and what these values are, and it might be easier for them to actually talk about their value system or their moral system because they're more conscious due to the fact that this is their parent or auxiliary function. So this doesn't fully dominate and take control over their personality. It's just something that comes naturally to them and is easier to access through the lens of either extroverted intuition or extroverted sensing. So an ENFP and an ESFP will care a lot, again, about what their values tell them, and they will have this innate drive to fight for those things that they actually believe in and to stand up for those things that they actually care about and are important for them. And you often see this because they become activists in our societies, people who really fight for the things that they truly believe in. Next, we've got introverted feeling as a child function or a tertiary function. This is the case of INTJs and ISTJs. And if you remember, the child function is a function that we more easily use in a stress-free environment. We like using it, and it can be interesting to explore, especially once we reach our teens or 20s. But it's not a function that we go to immediately. It's not a function that we jump to when making decisions. It's something that we like to explore, and this is the case of INTJs and ISTJs. They like exploring introverted feeling and juggling around with their values and emotions and so on. But they do it in a rather naive way. So that's why they can become quite cute when using this function, because it comes out in a very naive, childish, playful way. So an INTJ and an ISTJ will also rather be concerned with their emotions and their values, but when it comes to making a decision, especially in a stressful, difficult situation, they will kind of hide this away and actually focus on extroverted thinking instead. Next, we have introverted feeling as an inferior function. So this is the case of ENTJs and ESTJs. And what this means is that introverted feeling will come out as a very difficult thing for them to control. It's something that they're not used to. So when they actually get stuck into the grip of introverted feeling, they disregard their main dominant personality function, so extroverted thinking, and they will be so caught up in this emotional world that they're very uncomfortable with, that they may become very depressed. They may be very, might look like they're very introverted, and this can be very scary and weird for the people around them who are used to ENTJs and ESTJs making fast, harsh decisions and moving fast and being efficient and being extroverted. So they might get stuck in this loop of focusing a lot on what their inner world looks like. And when they actually have the ability to have some accomplishments from introverted feeling and are actually able to kind of align with their values and be sensitive and be empathetic, this feels like a great deal of accomplishment to them. Because when we have a kind of a success coming from our inferior function, it feels great, because it's not something that we normally do. We don't take it for granted, and we are like in awe when we see that. Next, we have introverted feeling as a Nemesis function. So this is the case of ENFJs and ESFJs. What they will do is that when their extroverted feeling will be challenged and they won't be able to deal with a situation well enough while using their extroverted feeling, they will kind of tap on their friend's shoulder, introverted feeling, and ask for support. So an ENFJ and an ESFJ will also be curious to explore their own feelings and their own values and their own inner world, and kind of use this in tandem with their extroverted feeling hero. And they will be able to do it, but in a rather limited way as compared to introverted feelers. However, they can also get very triggered by FP personality types, especially because they use introverted feeling so much. And this will manifest in themselves in such a way that they get annoyed at them, and they think that people with introverted feeling hero or auxiliary oppose them and challenge them. But that's not necessarily always true. It just feels to them that they're in a conflict with each other. Introverted feeling as a seventh function or a critical parent function. This is the case of INFJs and ISFJs. The critical parent in the form of introverted feeling will manifest itself in a tendency to be very harsh towards oneself. I've noticed this in the form of me wanting to be very fair in a way, but fair in a moral sense. So this can come in the form of INFJs and ISFJs feeling guilty when they don't feel like they're a good person. They assign this value of being a good person, and they want to be a good person, and they want to be authentic and aligned with their values and feelings. But because of their extroverted feeling, which works a lot in the world around them, it might seem to them that they're actually falling into the trap of just being what everyone else wants them to be. And then their introverted feeling is a nagging voice in their heads telling them to maybe pay attention to that, because things are not always great. And also it has a tendency to make them believe that they're not good enough, that they are not good people, that there's something wrong with them. And this can lead to them guilt-tripping themselves severely. Introverted feeling as a trickster or blind spot function. This is the case of ENTPs and ESTPs. And as you remember from the previous videos, the trickster function is the function that we have the most difficulty accessing. It's like we are blind to it, we don't understand it, we have very, very much difficulty using it in a conscious way. And when we do it, we tend to be manipulative, and we tend to show the very dark side of ourselves. So when ENTPs and ESTPs are trying to understand their own feelings and values, they will kind of rationalize it a lot with introverted thinking, and they might believe themselves that they're actually using introverted feeling. However, when they actually use it, because it's an unconscious process, they can become very manipulative and kind of overstep other people's boundaries with it. And lastly, we've got introverted feeling as a demon function. This is the case of INTPs and ISTPs, for whom introverted feeling seems to be something that they cannot comprehend. When you will ask an INTP or an ISTP to tell you about their inner world, their own feelings and values, they will struggle a lot. And they will again, similarly to ENTPs and ESTPs, they will try to rationalize the inner processes that they're going through. They have a hard time relating to people who use introverted feeling a lot, and it can annoy them. It can seem to them that these people are overly dramatic and overly sensitive, and they might have a really, really hard time dealing with it. It might exhaust them to be around people who are using introverted feeling a lot. However, there is a different perspective here as well, shedding light on the fact that introverted thinking and introverted feeling both look internally to one's mental processes, to one's feelings, to one's set of values. So again, as I've mentioned in the previous videos, it could be the case that there is a very special relationship between hero and demon, between light and dark, between plus and minus. So similarly, between TI and FI. It could be the case that there is some sort of a spin, some sort of a will, twisting and turning and allowing the psyche to maintain its balance. And this probably happens here when TI and FI find a way to kind of balance each other out and remain in the same position in respect to each other. So thank you guys, thank you for watching this video. I really am happy that you're together with me in this journey of exploring the cognitive functions of the mind. See you next time with another video, and before that, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos about MBTI and cognitive functions.